information, lots of goodies out in the hallway, and things, information about each organization, and things you can do and donate, and calls to action. So in addition to, I wanted to thank Hope Fellowship and Pastor Ron, who I think is not here. That's all right. Good man, Reggie, that's Reggie. He helped me set everything up here. So I wanted to thank Hope Fellowship Church for allowing us to use their beautiful space. The candidates will meet outside with all the, in the candidate room outside the sanctuary after the program. So I want to, without further ado, introduce a marvelous lady who I've known for many years, and we don't like to say how many, but our moderator tonight is Judge Rosemary Collins, and many of you know her by reputation, but she is a star, and we are so, so proud to have her moderate tonight's program. Thank you, Judge Collins. And she's shorter than I am, so I think we better just hand this.
Yeah, I'm shorter than everybody, so. Hi, everybody. Hey, here we are in the home stretch before the elections, right? You can see it now. It's on the horizon. And it's been a long, hard road for our candidates. I want to thank all the candidates who came here tonight. We appreciate that you're willing to run for office and spend your time and help get involved. And I really want to thank all of you for coming tonight, because it's really important to have an informed electorate. And in today's media world, it's hard to find out about candidates. And it's hard to find out about issues like the school tax. So this is one of the great ways to do it, and it takes time out of your life, and so I really appreciate your willingness to engage in your civic responsibility to vote and to be an informed voter. So thanks to you all for being here. We are nonpartisan. I think you all knew that, but let me remind you, we are nonpartisan. Every candidate was invited. Not all candidates could attend. Some didn't reply. Some chose not to attend. Some had conflicts. So if you have a candidate that you're interested in that isn't here, please call them and say, how come you weren't at the League of Women Voters Forum? That will encourage them to attend in the future, and will also make sure they understand that you're a issues-oriented voter, and they'll pay attention to that. We want to tell you that without informed voters, we can't have the kind of government that we deserve, which is a responsive, educated, and lawful government. We want everybody's voice to be heard in the process, and that is unfortunately not the case yet. In November of 2020, in the general election, Rockford's voter turnout was only 63%. The highest turnout in the precinct was 83%. The lowest, anybody want to guess? 12? No, but that's low. That makes me feel better. It was 26%. Only 26%, about a fourth of the people in that precinct that were eligible to vote, voted. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm willing to complain about every public issue that I don't agree with what's going on, but I feel like we need to vote to be able to complain about things. We need to vote to be able to have a choice in how our government runs. So please vote. I want to thank you. You are the people who are going to vote. Please educate people who couldn't be here tonight to educate themselves about the issues. We have a sample ballot here that you can look at out there if you haven't seen one, and help voter turnout. So if you have friends that may not have a car or may not know where to go vote, please help them make sure that they can cast their vote. One of the ways you can find out some of this information is vote411.org. That's a website. Vote411.org. It's one of the easy ways to increase turnout. Go to the IllinoisVoterGuide.org, see the QR code on the big purple Go Vote 815 posters. Use that QR code to get to Vote 411, to check your registration, obtain election information, including the candidate bios, polling places, hours of operation, and check out the sample ballots that we have here tonight if you're not sure you're going to be able to vote for a particular candidate. For example, we have the candidates here tonight for a judicial sub-circuit election. These are very important elections, but not everybody gets to vote in that particular subcircuit. So if you're not sure what subcircuit you're in, I can guarantee you those candidates can tell you, but also we have a sample ballot, so you can look at that too. But go to Vote 411. If you paid attention this week to the election in Dallas at all, you saw what happened when there was confusion about where to go vote and how to do it and what happened. The courts got involved. It was a big deal. Let's try not to do that. Let's try to get everybody in the right place at the right time, and that takes advanced preparation. So please help friends and family to vote. And you know, early voting has already begun. So if you're not sure what you're going to be doing on Election Day, I think Election Day this year is on St. Patrick's Day. I'm not saying anything about what people do on St. Patrick's Day for fun, but if you think that might interfere with your ability to vote, go vote now. And then you can participate in all the parades and fun activity of St. Patrick's Day without having to worry about, did I forget to vote yet? Now, tonight we have our first speaker, Dr. Gregory Brown, who's going to address the proposed 1% sales tax on the ballot. You will have an opportunity to ask questions at the conclusion of his talk, and the candidates will introduce themselves. So now I'm going to ask Dr. Brown if he will please step forward. And he's the Chief Financial Officer of Rockford Public Schools. He's served in that position since 2021. And before that, he was CFO of the Belvedere School District. So thank you for joining us tonight, and let us know, what is this all about?
I'm actually going to stick it back in the holder here. There we go. Can everybody hear okay? All right. So first of all, thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk a little bit about the county school facilities sales tax. This is an opportunity for school districts to actually raise capital for school improvements by using a sales tax versus using a real estate tax. And so that's really what this is. It's a trade-off between sales tax and a real estate tax. It allows county voters, which is everybody in this room, to either say yes or no to that. And we can't take a position on that as a school district. We can only present information. And so we're not here for a yes or a no. We're just trying to provide facts. So this law went into effect in 2007 in the state of Illinois, and it was patterned after a law that was put in place in Iowa. And in Iowa, they just put it in place automatically for all the counties in the state of Iowa. And so all the school districts automatically collect 1% of the sales tax on all the retail sales in Iowa. So this is something that was patterned after that. In Illinois, they took a little bit different approach. Rather than just putting it universally in for all of the school districts across the state, they actually said, well, we're going to let voters in every county actually decide for themselves whether they want to put this tax in place. The one change they did make several years ago was they added a couple of things to the question in Illinois. So you could actually add on to the question the ability to ask voters to also include funding for school resource officers and mental health professionals. That was not something that was originally allowed when the law was passed. It was something that was added on. And the reason they were doing that was because they found that school districts had a large need for school resource officers and also mental health professionals for students. And so it allowed that to be actually added to the question. The question that you'll see on the ballot actually includes both for school construction purposes and renovation purposes, and it also includes the question for the mental health professionals and school resource officers as well. So this has been put in place in more than half the counties of the state of Illinois. 58 of them have actually passed it. And so more than half have actually put it in place. What kind of things are taxed under this? So the kinds of things that are taxed are basically retail sales. So if you're buying prepared food, you're going to McDonald's or you're going to Chick-fil-A or wherever you're going for that, that is actually something that would be subject to the 1% sales tax. Any kind of a retail purchase, things like jeans, shoes, those kinds of things, cleaning supplies, if you bought a TV, those kinds of things would be taxed as well. And the one big kind of game changer for everybody that had already passed this was they started to tax online sales January 1st of 2021. And so that made a huge, huge increase in the amount of sales tax that was actually being collected in the state of Illinois. So the kinds of things that are not subject to this 1% tax are unprepared foods. So if you went to the grocery store, you wouldn't see a 1% tax on your groceries. You also don't see it on your prescription drugs or really any other over-the-counter pharmacy type things. Also vitamins and those kinds of things are not taxed. A big one I know when I was in Belvedere School District, we actually passed this in Boone County, and something that was really important over there was for our farmers. Farm equipment and farm inputs are also not taxed, and so that was actually a major consideration for a lot of the landowners over there. And then services are not taxed. Services aren't taxed right now in Illinois anyway, so they would not be subject to this as well. The kinds of things that school districts can use it for are, for construction of new facilities, for doing any kind of like repairs and maintenance type things that are required, big things like roof repairs and things like that. You can use it for parking lot improvements. You can use it for technology infrastructure, which is really huge for schools now because of all the one-to-one devices that our students use. And you can also use it for fire prevention and life safety work. So every school district in the state of Illinois has to have their buildings inspected by a licensed architect at least every 10 years. And whatever violations are found in there actually end up on what we call the fire prevention and life safety list that's turned into the State Board of Education. And we have to raise money to be able to do that improvement work as well. The kinds of things that it can't be used for are salaries and overhead. So we can't use it to subsidize our normal operations. We can't use it for operating the cost of the buildings. We can't use it to buy computers or any of those types of things as well. So ways most districts use it, a couple of different ways. You can do it for kind of pay as you go. So if the school district was able to raise $1 million, for instance, with the 1% sales tax, and they had $1 million worth of projects to do, they could just use that money currently to pay for those projects. They wouldn't have to go out and borrow money for it. They would be able to just pay as you go. You can actually pledge the revenue from the 1% sales tax to actually issue bonds. So let's say you had $1 million, but you had a $5 million project. You could actually use the proceeds that were coming in from the bonds or from the sales tax to actually issue bonds and then pay those bonds back. So you'd be able to do that without raising a property tax. And you can also use it to retire existing debt. So on your chairs, anybody who's got the flyers, you actually see two different ones on there. One of them's blue, and that's the one for Rockford Public Schools. The other one's purple. That's actually for Hononegah and the feeder districts. The front page on both of them is exactly the same, but if you flip it over and look at it, it shows you how the other districts are planning on using the money. And so as a group universally, all the school districts except for one actually voted to put this on the ballot. The school districts are all really interested in having a unified front when working on this. And everybody has committed a property tax relief as a component of this. How does the money get distributed back out to the schools? It's actually a really, really fair allocation method. Every school district actually gets the same per pupil. So it doesn't matter where in the county the school district is. It's total receipts for the county, and then it's just distributed out evenly. So every student gets the exact same amount of allocated back out to their school district. It doesn't matter where in the county the revenue is actually collected. And so that's actually one thing that's nice for some of the school districts that really don't have a big sales tax base. It is going to generate quite a bit of revenue for the school districts, probably around $40 million. And I know that sounds like a really big number, and everybody thinks, wow, that's a lot of money for people in this community to have to pay on sales tax. And it would be, and that's correct. One thing that the Regional Office of Education did do was they actually engaged a firm out of St. Louis that specializes in actually figuring out where sales tax is collected. And when they completed the study for Winnebago County, they found that over 60% of the sales tax that was generated in Winnebago County actually came from zip codes that are outside of Winnebago County. So we have become somewhat of a regional shopping hub. And so there are dollars that are actually coming into our community from zip codes that actually are not in our community. And so that was actually a real big selling point when we passed it in Boone County as well, because about 40% of the sales tax in Boone County was generated from zip codes that were outside of it, and it was primarily due to the tollway oasis, if you can believe that. It was almost entirely generated from the tollway oasis, those additional dollars. So that was a real big plus. So this needs a simple majority to pass, and again, it's really up to the voters to decide whether this is something that they actually want to put in place. And so happy to answer any questions that anybody might have.
I'm going to have you repeat the question if you don't mind, and I'm going to give you the mic now. Because some people might not have been able to hear it.
So that's a great question. The question was, are big ticket items actually subject to the tax? And the answer to that is no. So cars, vehicles, RVs, boats, those kinds of things, none of those are subject to this tax as well. So that's a great question. That actually comes up often. Another question we've gotten, durable goods are, things like that would be, but like big tickets like cars and stuff, no. Another one we've gotten to is cannabis. So a lot of people want to know if cannabis is subject to the tax. If it's medicinal cannabis, it is not subject to the tax, but if it's recreational cannabis, it is subject to the tax. And so that's one question that's actually come up as well. So great question.
Hold on just a second till I get back to you with the mic, if you will.
Does that include materials to build homes, apartments?
Yeah, if they're retail sales, yes. If they're wholesale sales, no. So if they are retail sales, like if you went to Menards and bought some stuff to incorporate it in your house, it would be subject to it. But if it was building materials that were incorporated into something else that would then generate a tax after that, they're not included. So great question. Okay. Correct. Okay, great question. So the first part of that is, yep. Yeah, the first part of that was school resource officers, and what are they? So we contract with the city of Rockford to actually provide school resource officers in a handful of our school buildings. They're primarily at the secondary level, which is middle school and high school. So those officers actually go through training to become a school resource officer. They're actually regular police officers as well, but then they provide services in the schools for us. Second question was on the mental health school professionals. So we have social workers and we have school psychologists that actually serve our students. And the question was, do we get any part of the mental health tax? And the answer to that is no, we do not get any of that. We are actually not even allowed to apply for proceeds out of the mental health tax. Great question. I've never gotten that one. Right. So every school district has the ability to, the question was how are the school districts going to provide property tax relief? So all the school districts, the Board of Education will have to decide exactly how they're going to go about doing that. I do know that most of the ones that I'm familiar with, the way they are planning on doing that is they're planning on doing an abatement of what they call the bond and the interest levy. And so every year when you see your tax bill, you'll see a breakdown of, what portion goes for what at the school districts. We actually levy based on bonds that have been issued previously what they call a bond in the interest levy. And so what the Rockford Public Schools I know is planning on doing, and I don't know the exact percentage, because that hasn't been decided yet. But what we do is then we actually record when we turn our information into the county clerk's office with the levy. We actually turn in an abatement certificate that tells them, hey, don't collect this amount of tax on the bond and the interest levy. And so that's actually how the rebate actually happens back to the taxpayers. It's in the form of an abatement. Sure. Correct. I'm not sure I exactly. So you want 100% abatement of it? Right, it wouldn't be dollar for dollar. Yeah, yeah. I think most of the school districts have been talking about, anywhere between like 25 and 50% they would try and earmark for property tax relief, because obviously this is intended to help with, unfunded school projects. And so if we just collected the sales tax and then abated it back, we'd still be in the exact same position that we were. We still need to raise money for improvement work. So. Yeah, can you repeat that one more time? I didn't hear all that. Yeah, so I don't know specifically all the counties. I do know how we did it in Boone County, and actually in Boone County it was 100%. So that one was a situation where 100% of the dollars that were collected were actually done in an abatement format to reduce the bond and the interest levy in Boone County. So that was one case where they had really generated, had to issue a lot of bonds for school construction back in the 2000s, 2005, 6, 7, when they were building all the schools out there. They actually didn't have an immediate need for capital projects, and so they took 100% of the money and put it towards paying off those bonds. So that's one. I do know some of the other districts downstate, some have used it 100% towards paying off bonds and school construction. Some of them have used it to bond for additional money. So I think it's really just all across the board. Yeah, it would be up to the school board, every individual school board, to decide what they were going to do on an annual basis. That's correct. Yep, on an annual basis. Other questions? Yeah, so the question was how will voters kind of police how the money's being spent? Is that essentially it? Yeah, so it's really going to be up to the individual school boards to decide, how they want to do that. I don't know that there's a mechanism for like an overall county strategy, on how they would do it, because it is up to every individual school board to decide how they're going to use the dollars. There's not, but I will tell you that I know that us as school districts have talked about, accountability to the community for how the money's planning on being used. And that's actually something that I know the superintendents are talking about, as a way to report back to the community on an annual basis. I know in Boone County and the Belvedere School District, we did an annual report when we did the levy, and then we told the taxpayers exactly how we were using the sales tax money on an annual basis. And so, that is how we did it over there. I don't know what the strategy would be over here, but I do know that's how we did it over there. That way people did know on an annual basis how the money was being used. Yep. Other questions? No? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We certainly appreciate your willingness to come out. I think a lot of us had questions about that. And so I'm not sure if we had another candidate just walk in, so I'm just going to check with Carol. But if not, I know where we're going. Another candidate? Oh, she's not ready. Okay. So we will go ahead with our judicial candidates. We have a judicial election coming up. The 17th Judicial Circuit has jurisdiction in Winnebago and Boone counties. All the judges in the circuit courts are responsible for the adjudication or deciding cases in both civil and criminal courtrooms. And the sub-circuit judges are elected for 6 years, which is the same as every other judicial election. You're elected for 6 years, and then you're up for retention after that. The difference in a sub-circuit is that those judges are elected from a certain geographical area, which is what they call the sub-circuit, whereas other judges who run circuit-wide are from the whole county or circuit, whichever it is. So what you need to know is that there are 2 candidates here tonight running for the sub-circuit in the 17th Judicial Circuit, first sub-circuit. Those candidates are both here tonight, so we're happy to have him here. I do want to go over some of the rules that we're going to do with candidates. And so we have 5 minutes allotted to each of the candidates to speak about themselves and their platform. Of course, all the participants, including the candidates, but also all of us, are supposed to be civil and businesslike and professional. We won't be able to ask questions of the candidates, much like we were able to ask questions of our first speaker, because we don't have time. But we will have a meet and greet afterwards. So if you have questions that you'd like to ask of the candidates, you'll be free to talk to them afterwards to ask those questions. We have timers here that will be keeping the time, and they have 5 minutes. They will give the candidates a 1-minute warning and then the stop sign. When the stop sign goes up, much like in real life, you must stop. And I will enforce that. So it's not that I'm trying to be rude. When the stop sign goes up, I will get up and interrupt the speaker. We do that because if I let you finish the sentence, if you're anything like me, you can go on and on and on. So the time you're done, that's what it is. We also call our candidates in alphabetical order, and that's how we decide that issue. So we will start now with our first candidate in alphabetical order is Paul Carpenter. So Paul.
Thank you very much. I really want to thank everyone for being here, and I want to thank the League of Women Voters for putting this on. It's so important to have informed voters in our community for all of these elections, especially, I think primary elections are, it's really important to know what's going on, because I think our votes count so much more in a primary election because there's fewer voters. So like each vote is really important. So thank you for being here. Thank you for learning about us. My name's Paul Carpenter. I'm a candidate for Circuit Judge in Sub-Circuit 1, as Judge Collins stated. I've been an attorney for 25 years. I've handled all sorts of different cases: criminal cases, civil cases, juvenile cases, family court cases. I've handled trials, arbitration hearings, appeals in state court, in federal court, and I've done just about every type of law that you can think of. And that's important because, as Judge Collins also mentioned, judges handle or can be assigned to cases, all different types of cases, not just, I think a lot of times we think of just criminal court, because that's what we see on TV all the time is criminal court cases, but there's civil cases, personal injury cases, contract disputes, all these different types of things. And so we want judges that can handle whatever types of cases are assigned to them on day one. And my experience gives me that ability to be able to handle any of those cases. When this opportunity came up, I had not been dreaming about being a judge for my entire career. That was not like something that was on my radar. But throughout my career, I had been trying to do my best to make a little difference when I can in our justice system. Do whatever we can as a lawyer to make a little difference whenever we can. And when this opportunity came up, I realized that judges can make a lot more differences than individual lawyers can. And so in order to make more differences, or bigger differences for more people, I decided to run for this position. And so that's why I'm here. I think that one of the things as an attorney for 25 years that I've seen that I think we can improve on is making sure that when we see people in court, we remember that the reason they're in court is it's not the whole person. Oftentimes when people are in court, it's because they're going through something difficult in their life. whether they're charged with a crime, whether they're getting a divorce, whether they've got a difficult financial situation that they're unable to resolve. It's probably one of the worst moments in their life. But there's a lot more to that person than what we see in court. And we need to make sure that we in the justice system recognize the whole person and not just what we're seeing in court that day. I think it's also important that judges take the time to fully explain their decisions. Every decision a judge makes, there's at least one side that's not going to be happy with that. And so it's really important for judges to follow the law, to explain their decisions, what the laws that they're basing their decisions are, what the facts that they're basing their decisions are on, and make sure everybody has the opportunity to present their case fully so that even if the decision doesn't go that person's way, they at least know that the judge considered it and know why the judge made that decision. Like I said, I've been an attorney for 25 years. I've also been involved in the community. I'm currently on the Rockford School Board. I'm the president of the Rockford School Board, and I'm honored to hold that role. It's an interesting role because, like a judge, the school board often has to make decisions that are sometimes unpopular with certain segments of the community. The difference between the school board, though, is that you are representing people, whereas judges, if they're making decisions that might be unpopular, they need to make them, or they're making them based on the law, and they shouldn't consider what the public thinks about their decisions. They need to consider what the law is and what the facts are. So, but being on the school board has given me the opportunity to make pretty important decisions, I think, for our community, and it's been an honor to do that. I've been, like I said, involved in the community for a long time. I've built relationships with many people who advocate for racial justice, many people who advocate for rights of women to control their own bodies, relationships with many people who advocate for working people to organize and bargain for better wages and better working conditions. And so I'm honored to have the support of many people like that. I'm honored to have support of people like State Representative Maurice West, State Representative Dave Vella, and I'm honored to ask you for your vote in this primary election. Thank you.
And now the next candidate in alphabetical order is Erin Hannigan.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much. So my name is Erin Hannigan. I am currently a judge in this circuit. I'm also running to keep that same spot as a circuit judge in our community. So a little bit about my background. I've spent over 20 years serving this community as an advocate. I spent the first 17 plus of them as a public defender in this community. And so what public defenders do is we are assigned cases of people that are accused of crimes that can't afford counsel, that feel as if they don't have voice. So my job was to give them voice and to defend their rights. And I did that for over 17 years because, as we all know, the Constitution isn't just for some, it's for all. And I took that job very seriously. I tried every kind of case from when they used to prosecute small amounts of marijuana to multiple homicides. So I know the courtroom, I know how it works, and I certainly know the law. But more importantly, I know people, and I understand people, and I always cared about the person standing next to me and what their story was, and that they had a right to be heard in that courtroom. When I left the public defender's office, I went to work for the city of Rockford as an attorney under Mayor Tom McNamara. And I did civil litigation, so I changed the area law. I also prosecuted, so I put on a different hat there too. And my job there was to try to hold problem property owners accountable for their properties. So those big dilapidated buildings that are just left there by owners that likely don't even live in our community, it was my job to take them to court. And so that's what I did for several years for the city of Rockford. And then this opportunity kind of came to be. Last year we found out about it, 2 weeks we got a call to get signatures to get on the ballot, and there was no doubt in my mind this was my job. I needed to do this right now. And so I had a great group of friends, went around, got signatures, and here I am here running for circuit court judge. But in the meantime, as I got on that ballot, they gave us the option to put our name in to sit in the seat. So I applied. I filled out a lengthy application. I interviewed with an Illinois Supreme Court justice. I interviewed with members of our community. And after that whole process, I was selected to serve as a circuit court judge, to sit in this seat by the highest court of the state of Illinois. I take that with a lot of pride, and it's a privilege to do this work every day that I'm doing. And I'm still upholding, I'm still protecting that Constitution that matters so very much to all of us. I've been community to community. I've worked with the Community Relations Commission, which is about diversity and inclusion in the city of Rockford. I'm a member of the Rockford Area Arts Council. I'm a board member. And we really want to encourage all of our youth to have access to arts, because we know that arts help people with their school and just with their future and their hopes, right? I can tell you I'm not a politician. This is incredibly crazy past couple of months for me to get out here. One thing that I did learn, and why I'm doing this, is because people don't want politics on the bench. They don't want a politician. They want someone that knows the law, that has done the law, and cares about the 1,000 people that they have represented. And ladies and gentlemen, that's me. I can tell you I knocked on a lot of doors. And I was, I think that I believe everyone needs to be seen, heard, and respected, and I do that right now in my job. But when I knock on doors, so many people have told me, wow, you look young. Who's your candidate? And I smile and I take it, and then I have a conversation like this. And what's beautiful is that these people, my neighbors, the people I knock on their doors, they see me. They hear me. And you know what? They respect me. So it's in the courtroom, it's outside of the courtroom. Ladies and gentlemen, your voice, it matters. You better believe your vote matters. So please, I encourage you to get out on March 17th to vote. Please give me your vote. Please tell your friends to get out and use their voice. Thank you so very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Just as a point of reference for either one of these candidates, one of my primary jobs, as you know, I was on the bench for 30 years. One of my first jobs was dog court. So yes, it is a humbling experience. Any new candidates here? Okay. Who is it? I'm sorry, I just didn't hear you. All right. We have a candidate who's traveled to get here. We appreciate it. We have several candidates for comptroller. One of them was able to come here today. So it's Stephanie Kifowit, and she's here. We're happy to have you here. Please come on up here. You may have missed my initial discussion. You have 5 minutes. We have timers. They'll put up the things, and then at 5 minutes we'll stop you. So, but thank you for appearing.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I apologize for being late. I traveled from the Aurora Oswego area, so it's happy to be here. Again, Stephanie Kifowit, running for controller for the state of Illinois. Those who may not be aware, the state of Illinois has a treasurer, but also has a separate controller. And the controller is the chief fiscal officer of the state. Of course, the treasurer is the chief investment officer of the state. So they do two completely different jobs. I present in two ways. First, I've been elected for 20 years. I was an alderman for the city of Aurora before I'd been a state rep for 12 years. So I have my professional background, but I also have who I am and what am I as a person. And so I normally start with, who am I? Who is this person in front of you? So I was born to a teenage mother, and actually she wanted to give me up for adoption, and my grandparents took me in. And so the first formative years of my life was hanging out with my grandparents. My mother lived through the Depression, and my grandfather came over when he was 17 from Poland. And so as a young child, I remember asking my grandmother why her feet did not look like my feet. And she would tell me that she was blessed to have shoes, only her shoes never changed and her feet grew. And then my grandfather would always tell me that he's blessed to be in America. And he was a head waiter. And so they made life work. Eventually, my mother married, and we were a blended family for a period of time until she divorced when I was 14, and I was told that there's no child support for you, I had to go out and kind of make my own, which I don't mind. Looking back, I don't really mind, because I was able to break leaves and mow lawns, and I helped the lady next door with her kids, and that was my foundation. And then at 18, I took my very first airplane ride to Parris Island, South Carolina, and I joined the United States Marine Corps. So I started to chart my own way. I served 4 years active duty, and while I was serving, my mother lost the house, and when I got out, I realized that there's no real place for me, but I could hang out with my friends. Now that I'm an adult, I know this is a term called couch surfing. When I was 21, I thought it was just really cool to hang out with my friends. So I applied to every single college I could, and the only college that accepted me was Northern Illinois University. So I was able to go to Northern Illinois University. I got my undergraduate degree. I worked. I got my Pell Grant, my MAP grant, my GI Bill, and I was actually able to get my master's degree in public administration with an emphasis on government finance. I was a registered financial advisor for a firm called Morgan Stanley Dean Witter, and then I had 2 kids, and I decided to run for alderman in the city of Aurora to improve my area. So I did that for 10 years. And then when the ability came out to run for state representative, I jumped in to serve my state. And I've been doing this for almost 14 years. Now, why am I running for controller? The people in this race are very nice. There's 3 other ladies in this race. We have all 4 ladies, which is wonderful. We've all been endorsed by Personal PAC, and we all embrace our democratic values. What's the difference? The difference is I have 20 years of finance experience. I served during the Quinn years, the Ronner years, and now the Pritzker years. I have been with 3 different controllers side by side on the budget working groups, on the budget committees, and I know the budget inside and out. I know the office inside and out. Judy Bartopinka, Leslie Munger, the current controller. I've passed legislation with the current controller. I know the leadership of the current controller's office. I know the state budget. It's $124 billion. The controller manages 700 different funds, and it goes into 8 different fund categories. One of those categories is the General Revenue Fund. We read about that a lot, $55 billion. But it's $124 billion, my friends. And the controller's office generates 16 million transactions a year. That's a huge office that touches every single person in this room. So what I've done and what I have done is I've stood up to Mike Madigan, my own party, and he's gone. I stood up to Bruce Ronner. I have been standing up, and you can trust me to stand up as well. We launched our People First initiative, and that is going to create a labor division for our men and women that are working, nonprofit organization division to help those nonprofits, and continue the modernization, cybersecurity, and safety features for the computers that I already know about. It's $53 million. So Stephanie Kifowit, K-I-F-O-W-I-T, KifowitForController.com, and I bring 20 years of experience, military experience, and I can go up against Donald Trump because you need a Marine to do that. So thank you all very much for your time.
Thanks so much, and thanks again for making it over here. We appreciate it. So now we're going to move on to the candidates for the Winnebago County Board. As a governing body, the board is responsible for adopting an annual budget for the county, establishes its tax rate, and authorizes voter-approved bonds. The board also reviews zoning, planning, land use matters, and certain permits and licenses. So it's really important who our county board members are. We have from District 10, I believe we have Suli Kadingo. There you are. Hi there.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. Thank you, League of Women Voters, for inviting me to introduce myself. A little bit about me. I am fairly new to politics in general. My parents were actually Jehovah's Witness, so totally anti being involved in anything government. But I've always been involved in my community. Since about 2018, when I left Crusader Clinic, I used to be an unstaffed interpreter, actually. Before having to clock in 9 to 5 every day, I wasn't involved because I didn't have time to be involved. I was uninformed. So I was ignorant to everything around me. And I feel that a lot of people that are working class are so busy trying to make it that you don't really have time to look things up. But once I launched my interpreting agency at the end of 2018, beginning of 2019, I stayed involved in the community. I attended a lot of community events, like all the health fairs, and in an effort to promote my services. And actually a lot of the reason why I even started my interpreting agency was out of need. I had a child that was suicidal, and I was making $730 every 2 weeks after benefits and taxes. So the mental health provider recommended 3 appointments a week at $350 an hour. So do we eat? Do we pay a mortgage? Or like what's going on? So I had to quit my job because, you know, you point out, in order for me to be present for my child, it was more important to me to keep him alive. So I started a business. Luckily, interpreting was paying about $90 an hour back then, and I wasn't making anywhere near that. I don't even think I was making $15 an hour back then. So I was able to, you know, do very well with interpreting services. When I worked in the clinic, I was very hands-on. I was like the resource girl. So I would help patients get in touch with local resources. So I'd research, you know, what nonprofit had services available to patients, and we would host like various workshops. So I continued to do that. I loved it. When I left, a lot of the patients just, oh, so he has a business. I need help with this or that, and they'd show up at my office, even though they didn't necessarily need my services every time. I always try to direct someone in a way that they could be helped. So fast forward a couple years, I helped found Rockford Regional Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. That was like in the middle of COVID. I didn't really want to do that either, but then it happened out of need because I had so many people approaching me for business services. When I started my business, I had zero help. Until like it took me a lot of research to figure out how to get that done and how to do things appropriately, how to, you know, register your business, things like that. So we've been helping businesses since 2021, completely unfunded, literally putting my own money into it, free consultations and helping businesses gain access to resources and succeed. So I know there are other organizations locally that get money for classes or executive salaries. I've never once tried to obtain an executive salary for that. So we continue to help because my community needs it. I've been working with the Hoffmans, with Joe and Karen Hoffman since about 2021, and I've learned a lot. I do have other friends that are heavily involved in this that, you know, keep me informed. And one thing about me is that I stand up for what's right. I stand up for those that don't have a voice. Actually, the slogan to my interpreting business is, "We are your voice, somos tu voz." And I want to continue to live that every day. So I am a mother of 6. I come from a blended family, and my previous marriage was not great. It's domestic violence, so I'm not in that situation anymore, but that's one of the things that, you know, I stand hard for. So now as a realtor, I've learned about housing, and as a mother actually having to raise so many kids on a limited budget, I know affordable housing is a key priority. So right now I'm advocating for affordable housing, mental health services, which is drastic need, and then public safety. So my time is up, but feel free to reach out if you have any questions, and I hope to count on your support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And I think we also have from the 12th, running for the District 12, we also have Freddie de la Trinidad.
Hello, everyone. My name is Freddie de la Trinidad. I am currently, if you live in the 12th District, I am your current county board member for District 12. I also want to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this event tonight, and for all of you for coming, you know, because I know you guys have busy lives, and you guys took a little bit of your time to come out here and to listen to us, so I really appreciate that, and it means a lot to the candidates and to the League of Women Voters, and, you know, we're here for you. So again, my name is Freddie de la Trinidad. I am your current county board member, and I am also a teacher by profession. I teach at Jefferson High School, teach history, government, and global studies. I'm also a Rockford Education Association union member, and so we're very, very proud of that. So I just want to take a little bit to explain a little bit what the county board does, because a lot of people, a lot of folks, when I talk to them, they have a little bit of an understanding of it, but not entirely. So 70% of your property taxes go to RPS 205, okay? So roughly 67 to 70% go to the school district. The other 30%, we help to manage it, okay? So that will include your sheriff's department, your family court system, your court system, your Winnebago County Health Department, your highway department, your probation department, all kinds of departments that the county has. We manage and we try to, make a budget out of that. I am also proud that since being on the board, we've helped fund public safety for our law enforcement. So we have provided body cameras for them. We replace vehicles so they can have all the tools that they need to patrol, our neighborhoods so we can keep our neighborhoods here safe. And I'm very proud of that. We funded up towards about $1 million or so for the community, for the county. Another thing as well is I was a bit advocate and I protected funding for our River Bluff Senior Center, right? So those are the center that a lot of people don't think about, but very important for our seniors here in the county. They offer a lot of services for them here in the community, and I'm very proud that we were able to fund that program and fund that center, which is very valuable here for the county. I also funded the highway department. So the highway department deals with hazardous roads, right? So a lot of people don't think about that, but those are important, right? So we try to identify hazardous roads in around the county to try to make them better, right? So I'm very proud that we fully funded that as well, and that's also includes in our safety public safety package. Big advocate for our family court center, right? So, services for domestic violence, mental health, divorce services, those are some of the things that our family court system does, right? So I'm very proud of that. I'm proud of my record. And I do want to share a little bit with you, a little bit about my campaign. So I've been all over the district, knocking on doors, talking to folks. And I've said this before, but when I talk to folks, one of the most important things that I take from this is that a lot of them love it when their candidate or when their representative shows up on their door, right? So I've had such a great appreciation for voters, and also a great deal of respect for them, and it shows. But I want to continue on the board, so I'm here asking for your vote to keep me on the board, and because I want to be a practical voice, a voice of reasoning, and transparency, because I want to have that connection with our voters and with our residents so they can know the services that they need, and they can know the services that are provided by the county. Thank you so much.
Okay, are there any candidates who came in after we started that I missed? No. Okay, well, I want to thank the candidates for being here. You all were really great to listen to, and I learned a lot. I learned about the sales tax, which I hadn't heard much about beforehand, so that was really interesting. I want to thank the League of Women Voters, AAUW, and Hope Fellowship Church. What a beautiful location we have here tonight, so thank you for letting us use this beautiful spot. It's very nice, and it shows the commitment of all these groups towards helping us engage in our community and fulfill our civic responsibility. So my biggest thanks, of course, go out to all of you, because without you, it would just be a few of us sitting up here talking to ourselves. So we appreciate your being here. We do have an opportunity afterwards for you to meet some of the candidates who are able to stay and talk to them in more detail. I think when I came here, I saw that they had cookies, so that's pretty exciting. So thank you again. Have a lovely evening. Remember to vote March 17th or tomorrow morning. All right, thank you.